Good evening. Mr. Hadaway's stuck in traffic. I just got it. Oh, there he is. Good evening, sir.
I'd like to make an entrance.
Okay, for those of you in the audience who have not attended one of these hearings recently, let me review our normal procedure. Staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you would like to speak, please fill out the speaker form located on the table in the lobby and indicate the item number and whether you are for or against the item. Please give the form to the clerk seated on my left. The applicant and supporters will be heard first. Those in opposition to the request will be heard next. Then the applicant may be given a chance for rebuttal if necessary. Comments should be restricted to pertinent information regarding the agenda item under discussion. If you're an individual, you will have 3 minutes for comments. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you will have 6 minutes for comments. Speakers should move closer to the podium when their item is being presented by staff. Speakers should identify themselves clearly for the record by stating their name and address. Each speaker should be given respectful and courteous attention. The board may ask questions of speakers or staff members. Information such as pictures, site plans, letters, etc., presented at a public hearing will be kept as part of the public record. If you have something on your cell phone you want to show us, you have to promise to give staff a copy of it after the hearing, or you have to give us your cell phone for the permanent record. You probably don't want to do that. I will then ask for a motion from the board. Once the motion has been made and seconded, discussion will be closed to the floor. Following board discussion, a vote will be taken. During voting, board members who do not cast objecting votes are considered to have voted in support of the motion. Any person aggrieved by any decision of the Board of Adjustment may, within 15 days, file an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners through the Planning and Development Division of the Development Services Department. Okay, we're ready for our first item.
Agenda item number 1 is, Angie Halifer, for the record, Planning and Development. Item number 1 is a request for 2 side yard west and east setback variances from 10 feet to 7.5 feet for a single-family dwelling in the A1 Agricultural District located at 3518 Main Street. This is a parcel of record that predated the subdivision regulations, and the lot is within the community development target area called Midway, designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. The proposed single-family residence will be approximately 2,474 square feet and will encroach 2.5 feet into the required west and east side yard setbacks. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and based on the stated findings, staff recommends approval for the request, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff comments? Okay, any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Based on staff acceptance, I move to approve.
A motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 2 is a request for a side yard south setback variance from 10 feet to 3 feet for a shed in the R1 AA single-family dwelling district located at 2946 Division Street in the Seminole Terrace replat subdivision. The proposed shed will be 120 square feet and will encroach 7 feet into the required side yard south setback. 2 letters of support were submitted from the surrounding neighbors, and there have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add? You don't have to, but if you do, I need you to come to the front. It's up to you. If you please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Susan Davis on 2946 Division Street. So I saw the staff's recommendation, and I'm just here for any questions that you may have for it. I've been in this location for over 20 years, The shed is located in a spot, so I also have a well back there, so when I put that shed in that certain area, I know that well is going to need maintenance and possibly a new drill, a new well in that area. So I want to make sure that I can get equipment back into that spot, and that's our spot to get the equipment back. So I just want you all to keep that in mind when you look at it.
Okay, so reason for the variance is you're trying to leave room for the well in case you have to re-drill it or do something with it.
Yes, and that was in the explanation. It's also, as you can tell, there's a lot of vegetation in there that's actually native. We have, gopher tortoises and the deer and everything else go back there. I was trying to keep as much of that also as possible.
And have you talked to your neighbors about it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, we have. Neighbors are absolutely in support of it. I have a wonderful street full, we support each other, we talk, we actually go to each other's homes. We help each other during storms, so it's a fantastic street. So, yes, I have.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the request, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 3 is a request for a side yard south setback variance from 10 feet to 3 feet for a carport in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District located at 128 Shirley Avenue, located in the Marvania Second Section subdivision. The proposed carport will be 400 square feet and will encroach 7 feet into the required side yard south setback. One letter of support was received from the neighbor located at 120 Shirley Avenue. On November 28, 2005, the Board of Adjustment approved the rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 5 feet and a side yard south setback variance from 10 feet to 3 feet for a shed/garage for the same property. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Yes. go
I
ahead.
apologize, this may be a dumb question, but I'm looking at the letter of support from, I'm taking as Mr. Prager, and I'm just curious, do we know what the address of the South Elliott Avenue address that he has under his signature is? Is that where he lives, or is it the 120 Shirley Avenue?
She'll have to answer that.
All
I
right,
don't
I'll
know.
defer the question to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We'll ask it again in just a moment. Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, come on down. Please state your name and address.
Diane Newton, 128 Shirley Avenue, Sanford, Florida. And he owns the house next door to me, but he lives on Elliott. So there's the renter.
Okay.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay.
And everything else was absolutely covered.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
No, except police. But that's it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? We have a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have a good evening. All right, next item.
Item number 4 is a request for 2 side yard north and south setback variances from 7.5 feet to 5 feet, and a front yard setback variance from 25 feet to 20 feet for a single-family dwelling in the R1 Single Family District, located on Sipes Avenue in the Thomas addition to Midway subdivision that was platted in 1947. The request is to construct a single-family dwelling approximately 1,700 square feet of livable space. The subject property is a parcel of record that predated the subdivision regulations located within the Midway target area, which was designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. The overall goal of the county's program is to stabilize and revitalize low-income neighborhoods through capital improvement, housing rehabilitation, and public service activities. There have not been any prior variances for this subject property, but there have been many approvals, recommendations of approvals for the same lots in the same neighborhood and surrounding areas. And based on the findings and recommendations, staff recommends approval. This concludes my presentation.
Can you go back to the aerial that shows the property line has a red box? So their property runs against the back of the neighbor's house?
Those lines aren't exact.
Oh, okay, I was like,
No, those are just.
talk about a zero lot line.
No, they're not exact.
You open your window and shake hands.
Yeah, but no, those are just,
Okay, I'm just, all right. Any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Not so much a question, but just to disclose for the record, Ms. Fisher, who is the engineer for the applicant, contacted me to discuss board policies and procedures for this and the next item on the agenda. We didn't discuss the contents, the specifics of the application, but just I share that for the public record.
Okay. All right, any other questions for staff? All right, is the applicant present? Good evening.
Speak with it.
Please state your name and address.
Good evening. For the record, Kim Fisher, hello. Kim Fisher, 1614 White Dove Drive, Winter Springs, 32708. I am representing the owner for this property. I wanted to thank staff as normal for doing an amazing job, and thank you guys as well. So I'm going to go ahead and speak once for this project and the next one, unless you really want to hear from me twice. I don't think you do.
Well, for right now, because we haven't introduced the next one, just
Gotcha, it's the
keep it
same.
to the,
So yeah, these are existing 40-foot wide lots, so we are asking for a setback for 5 foot on the side so that we can get in a 30-foot wide house. And then we are asking for the front setback in order for us to get in a septic system, since these are served by septic. And then that is all. I don't have a speech. I'm here for any questions or for any rebuttal.
okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant's representative? All right, thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? All right. We have someone, Sharon Stallworth. You want to speak in opposition to the request? Come on down. Good evening. If you state your name and address for record.
My name is Sharon Stallworth, and my address is 1900 Sipes Avenue, Sanford. My home is actually located on lots 14 and 15, and I'm here opposing those lots that are 11, 12, and 13. May I go on?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, because I figure most of the people that are sitting in this room, and even the builders, they are not residents of this particular community. And I do commend the community constructions that are happening in those communities, but I feel like as contractors, we are planners and sitting behind your seat, but we're not sitting in the residential area where residents are living at, and that's where I want to represent. And I have with me some individuals that are familiar with some things that I'm about to say, and also residents and associates that are aware too. These 3 structures that are going to be coming up, they're going to be actually coming up in an environment where I'm already struggling with, and that is sewage and drainage is very, very poor. It has become a very, very serious matter to the point where a few years ago, there were contractors came out and they did do something to improve the sewage and drainage issues there, but as a result of the work that they've done, it has caused the opposite. It's been, I'm not the only one here to speak on that behalf. I'm only here representing 1900 Sipes Avenue because that is where I dwell at. And just so you know that these lots, they come from, my family have been there on these lots now for over 80 years. So we've been there for a very long time. And so we have had the opportunity to see the changes, the growth, and we know the positive side of this growth, and we also have gotten the opportunity to experience also the negative side of this growth, and that is anytime that is a very, very difficult rain, water has been sitting up to nearly my bedroom window. I have done what I can do as far as to protect my home from water, wetness, and dampness. And I feel when these structures come up, they're going to have to raise those houses up, and I don't know how many feet. However, my dad's not here, but he will be at the next meeting if there happens to be one. He's a retired contractor and a retired subcontractor. He's also explained to me some concerns as well when these structures come up. But that's one of the things that I want to bring to your attention when you make this decision. You're making a decision based on families that have been dwelling in this home at this site for over 80 years and getting ready to accommodate families, 3 families that would sit on these small lots, and that's my concern. Again, the lots are not that big, and you're getting ready to put 3 families onto these lots, and now I'm concerned about privacy. I'm concerned about how these families are going to be able to integrate in such a tight place. I'm looking at it from both perspectives. When you look at the perspective of a contractor, it's business, it's what we do, and we found a nice place to build 3 houses. You build your houses, you sell them, and you walk away. But you've got families that are going to be left behind with these structures that are so tight there until it's going to be almost difficult to thrive. And I feel like when you are building and reconstructing and restoring a community, it is for families to strive and to thrive and to live happy and safe. But when you are putting people in these little small places, it's going to be complications later. And these complications won't be sitting around this table tonight. These complications will occur later on as we go on about our business. Everybody in this room will go home and do whatever, and then when these houses come up, I'm sitting there, and now I'm dealing with the aftermath. So I'm just asking you guys to, when you make your decision, to consider the fact that what we have to work with and what we're working with in the future. And I'm asking you not to just consider tonight, but consider tomorrow. And consider the fact that there are families that are living in that home, in these homes, that have been there all these years. And now it's we're creating a bigger problem for them.
Okay. Have you had a chance to, or have you tried to talk to the owner or the owner's representative about the plans for the property and address the issues?
No.
With them? Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Stallworth, I have respect for what you're saying and your concerns. My thinking, and the county attorney can correct me if I'm wrong in this, the only thing we're allowed to consider tonight is the application, which is a variance to setbacks. We can't consider whether or not there will be a residence. So as to what's before us tonight, and the only thing legally we can vote on is modifying these setbacks. Do you have, because I didn't hear anything you had said that addresses what's before the board.
Okay, well, what I'm presenting before the board, and let me just see if I can get some clarity, then you can help me understand it. I went upstairs when I I saw those variant signs, and I went upstairs and they educated me, and they explained to me what the setbacks mean. So I'm saying, when you approve those five, the override the 7.5 feet and go to the 5 feet, then you are authorizing residential or something, because of the fact that you are now authorizing, making it convenient, or maybe I use a different word, making it possible for these 3 small homes. When before you make that decision, they don't fit.
I follow what you're saying. Thank you. That helps.
Understand?
I should probably clarify on the comments, but when she says 3, there's one more that's in these lots that are going next month.
Yes.
There's 2 this month and 1 that's next month. I saw you
figured.
guys looking perturbed, so.
I also want to clarify that the lot at 1900 received a 2 side yard setback variances from 7.5 feet to 0 feet,
Which lot was that?
per lot.
Ms. Stallworth?
Pardon me?
What staff is saying is that your property received a similar, if not identical, setback.
When was that? I
In
received it.
2012.
Pardon me?
In 2012 for the shed, the 25-foot by 12-foot shed.
Yes, I did. I put in a request for it.
And it
but
was
didn't-
approved.
But it didn't affect any other families. In fact, I consulted those families before I even attempt to even put that structure up. And when I put the structure up, you've got the picture right there. You can see it was only an unused alley. But these structures are not going to be an unused alley that we're talking about tonight. We're talking about 3 dwelling places that are going to compact and affect my home.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair?
You-
I had a question for our attorney, for the county attorney. So when as Mr. Hadaway had pretty much come in, is that if we vote yea or nay for this, either way, the units can still be built, just not in that, meaning they could still shrink it down to where where it is in compliance with code and everything. But we can, no matter how we vote, yes or no, the project can still move forward, correct? It's just would be in a smaller capacity, correct?
I'm not familiar with the development order for the project to answer as to whether or not they could even build a smaller home
Okay.
on the lot. But Mr. Hadaway is correct, the question before you is simply limited to the variance request and that criteria, and not necessarily reapproving the project.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion? Or actually, hold on, the applicant's representative? Get ahead of myself. I would like to give you a chance to talk about rebuttal on the drainage.
Sure. Thank you. Again, for the record, Kim Fisher. So Vice Chair Commissioner Hadaway is correct. We have the right, and more so for the property owner, to hear this. We have the right to build right now. Currently, we would just have to meet today's code, which is a side setback of 7.5 feet, which we have a 40-foot wide lot. So that's going to take us to a 25-foot wide house, which means we'd have to do a carport out front in order to make it work. This is a target area for revitalization. We don't want to do a carport on a 40-foot, on a 30-foot wide product, which we do all over Sanford. There's a lot of new ones across from the airport that have gone up in Wyndham Preserves. There are actually a lot of 40-foot wide lots mixed in. So on a 30-foot wide product, we can still get a 2-car garage in there. So yes, in front of you is just the setback variance, not do we have the ability to build a house or not. Thank you.
Okay. Let me ask you about drainage.
Sure.
Have you studied the drainage, and what are the plans to deal with the drainage issues?
Sure. Most of the drainage complaints, and I believe there's an inlet right in front of one of these parcels, but any of your drainage concerns are existing and really need to go to Public Works, and I'm sure staff can provide her with a number to contact. So if she's experiencing drainage issues, and you've got a lot of construction going on across the street with the Cameron Heights Village, I think it's A and B across the street. They've got swales and pipes on their side. I know there's some pipes on this side, which is the west side as well. But the drainage will go from the rear of the yard to the front of the yard, which is what they're designed to do. So that's not going to be changed. But if there's an existing issues in the existing system, that needs to be handled by Seminole County Public Works. That's not to be addressed by her house, a neighbor's house, any of the individual lots out there.
Well, I'm not referring necessarily
sure.
to the main drainage system itself, but have you considered how you're going to keep the water generated from that property? When you put the impervious surface down,
Right.
that water's got to go somewhere.
Right.
What keeps it channeled to the front
Sure.
instead of to the neighbors?
Sure. Whenever we submit the building permit plans, whether it's for a 25-foot wide product or a 30-foot wide product, we are going to have to put swales down the side yards in order to channel it to the right-of-way. Once it hits the right-of-way, it becomes Seminole County's,
Sure.
not issue, not problem, but it becomes part of the master overall system of stormwater, which is encompassed in the Sipes Avenue roadway.
Okay, so you're going to put swales down the
Correct.
sides of the property line?
Correct.
To funnel it
Exactly.
to where the county
We
is.
either do that or pipes. Most of the situation, most all new homes are doing it via swales.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant's representative?
I have some additional, Kathy Hamill, Development Services. I have some additional information for you guys to be aware when we do our recommendation, especially on these antiquated plats, which were platted prior to us assigning the zoning classification, which deemed it an unbuildable lot without the variances. So when this was platted in the 1940s, it was platted as a lot that was only 5,200 square feet. And then we assigned it a zoning classification, which required a minimum of 8,400 square feet. So there is the hardship that was created. So when we look at reviewing this and the setbacks that they're requesting, the lot size of 5,200 is consistent with R1BB, which is a minimum of 5,000 square feet. In R1BB, a 5-foot setback is the side yard setback, and the 20-foot is the front yard setback. So it is consistent with the platted lot's dimensions, the setbacks that they are requesting.
Okay. And as you know, we have to balance, the owner has a right to develop their property. And we have to balance that with public concern about how it affects other people's property as well. And it becomes a judgment call often. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Again, I have great respect for what Ms. Stallworth's saying, and I think if this were a rezone application or a comp plan amendment application, we might be having a different conversation, but I think this applicant has met their technical requirements as per the land development code, and based on that, I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. Do we have a second? Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of the request, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the motion carries 3-1. It's approved. Ms. Stallworth, you have 15 days to appeal our decision to the Board of County Commissioners. If you get with staff later, they can tell you how to do that. Okay? And I do fully understand your concern. Okay, next item.
Item number 5 is for the adjacent lot right next door, Lot 12, requesting for 2 side yard north and south setback variances from 7.5 feet to 5 feet, and a front yard setback variance from 25 feet to 20 feet for a single-family dwelling in the R1 Single Family Dwelling District, located on Lot 12 on Sipes Avenue and the Thomas addition to the Midway subdivision. That plat was recorded in 1947. And as a parcel of record, the request is to construct a single-family dwelling, approximately 1,700 square feet of livable space. The subject property is a parcel of record and predated the subdivision regulations located within the Midway target area, and there have not been any prior variances found for the subject property. This concludes my presentation. Staff does recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Okay. Ma'am, is there anything else you would like to add? I'm assuming your comments are basically the same as the last time? Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Ms. Stallworth, you're welcome to add to it, but we understand your comments from the last one as well, so it's up to you if you'd like to speak again. I know you put down you wanted to speak on it, so.
I just want to say something, and I heard you guys say earlier that you'll get with Public Works. And then I heard him say that, well, you know, they've met all their requirements, but it's still, the subject still remains, when this table is over, this situation is going to be a bigger matter. It's going to be the same thing, because we've been fighting, and by this time, after this many years, we know the phone numbers to Public Works. And we have met every requirement that we could meet to get the support out there that we really need. If you drive your cars and just take a ride through and look at the community on a good hard rain or on a tropical day, and then I heard comments that we are going to try to put, but that doesn't, I didn't see anything that indicated that we will. I didn't see anything or hear anyone say that we're going to do this. It's all just words that, you know, to accommodate this meeting so we can get we just get what we want. So I just wanted to step up and just let you know that I didn't just come here for the first time. I've been with the Midway Coalition. They have big meetings, and they have, when I said big meetings, they have community meetings. They're fighting against the grain, trying to get the water system to flow through that community. I'm just with 1900 Sipes because I am trying to not wave in water, and I feel that this structure is going to increase my situation that I'm already with, and I haven't found an answer. I haven't had anybody say yes, you know, we'll come out and we will do. I haven't found, they talked about grants and other fundings and other organizations and things that can help, but at this point, I felt like the table right here that can work with the contractors and sites that's working on these 3 houses to fix it so they can accommodate my home and what they're getting. But it looks like we work away, the contractor still gets the favor because it's community development. And the residents that are living there just have to kind of fend pretty much for yourself. And that's what it looks like to me.
Mr. Chairman?
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Something to think about, and I know that part of the county, the drainage is lousy.
Yeah.
But it's not fair for us, this is just me speaking, I can't speak for this board, that I don't think it'd be fair for us to impose on one property owner the obligation to fix it when the community at large should fix it, when the county itself is failing to meet its obligation to you and your neighbors. So
But
it is, there's no doubt it's a lousy situation, and I follow what you're saying.
But well, I'm standing here, this particular site is 1900 sites is what we're dealing with today. We're not dealing with the entire Midway or the coalition. We had an opportunity to address how to accommodate my family and the contractors. How can we split it down the middle so we don't drown these people, but then we yet can raise our community? That's where I stand at, and I didn't hear that tonight. Okay?
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
And just for the record, it still has to go through site plan review, and there's a lot of engineering questions that is handled by site planning that we don't get into. We're not engineers. Okay. Anyone else to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, motion to approve.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to add to something I was saying to Ms. Stallworth, is I started thinking about Harris Act type things, and if we impose on this property owner an obligation that should be borne by the community at large, the county gets sued and loses in 2 seconds. And so it's, I think drainage does need to be addressed, but we can't burden this property with that, with being responsible for that.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-1. You also have 15 days to appeal this decision as well. Okay.
Item number 6 is a request for the rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 20 feet for an addition in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District located at 305 Tangerine Street in the West Altamont Heights Section 1 subdivision. The proposed addition will be approximately 561.6 square feet and will encroach 10 feet into the required rear yard setback. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add to staff comments? Come on down. Good evening. State your name and address, please.
Marina, and I'm the owner for 305, and my husband is here. So a few years ago, we purchased this small home.
Hold
Our
on.
family
Can you
is
state your full name and your address?
Marina
And your address.
Ivazian, 305 Tangerine Street, Altamont Springs, 32701.
Thank you.
So our family growing, and we just requesting extra footage to add 2 additional bedrooms and the bathroom. We have boy and girls. They are growing. They need each their own room, just to have, their own space and privacy. And why we're requesting additional 10 foot, because we have to open up our bedroom, and that's not going to be bedroom anymore. It's going to be like just walk-in hall to additional 2 rooms. We've spoken to all our neighbors. They fully support. I asked them to sign written request, which they are okay with this project. It's going to be added at the backyard. This picture does not show. We do have already replaced new fence, and when there is no any point we're going to bother neighbors, and they're going to have their privacy, and we are. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Sir,
motion to approve.
a motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, it's approved. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 7 is a request for a side yard west setback variance from 10 feet to 7 feet for a spa in the PD Plan Development District located at 1781 Cherry Ridge Drive in the Brookhaven subdivision. The spa will encroach 3 feet into the required side yard west setback. The Heathrow Homeowners Association has approved the location of the spa, and there have not been any prior variances found for this lot, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add, sir? Okay, are there any questions for the applicant? All right, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, in light of pretty much going off the site with the neighbors, I move to approve. It's pretty much.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck. All right, next item.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 8 is a variance request for 5606 Winterbrook Way, which is located in the Winterbrook subdivision. The request is for a south side street setback variance from 15 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the East Park Plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Winterbrook Way. The Legacy Reserve Court side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence along the south side street property line, encroaching entirely into the side street setback. The fence will stop short of the 2 transformers located on the property and will abut the lift station tract. The proposed privacy fence will be approximately 8 feet from the sidewalk and 20 feet from the edge of pavement. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a 5-foot drainage easement, and at building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement with an estoppel letter. Traffic engineering has no objection to the place of the fence as it relates to site visibility. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I believe I've asked this question before, but I'll ask it again.
Who painted their house?
The right-of-way for Winterbrook is not contiguous through the whole property line, correct? It's adjacent to a common tract, the
Right,
water-
there's a track there
wastewater
for
treatment plant.
for the lift station.
But our interpretation is always just because it's got partial side yard setback, that extends to the entire property all the way back?
It extends to that portion where the right-of-way stops, and it would have to meet the setback.
Can we have the picture of the lot survey up there? So, yeah, the one back, sorry.
I think to further clarify on this with Hillary is that when the lot was platted, the lots are platted to certain dimensional requirements based on if it's considered to be a corner lot or interior lot. So when this lot was platted, even though I understand that you're looking at it that where the actual fence is actually doesn't abut right away.
Correct.
The lot was platted as a corner lot, and it's platted a certain percentage larger to be able to accommodate the corner lot setbacks. And so that is also what we're taking into consideration when we're looking at the setback.
Okay. And again, my process is that, this is, it's not technically against a developable roadway or street thoroughfare. I mean, it's up against a lift station tract and a stormwater tract, so, which is not going to be developed, for right-of-way, so.
But just for instance, just to give you kind of an idea, if somebody wanted to put, say, on the northern side of this property here, if they wanted to put their fence within that 20 feet, even though it's not directly abutting that right-of-way, they would still have to get a variance for it if it was within the front yard setback.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add? No? Do you have any questions for the applicant? Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, a motion to approve.
A second.
A motion and a second. Do y'all consider amending the motion to make sure that, I want to specifically state that the fence, once it hits the edge of that track for the lift station, they can't extend the fence all the way to the front? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how to word that properly, but
Aren't they restricted though by what's actually applied for?
well, I want to make sure that we're clear on that it's for the section of the property that's against the stormwater and the
You
lift
looked
station.
into our decision.
Right.
All right.
Y'all, staff, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it is approved to the site plan, so it would
Okay.
be required to remain in that place.
Oh, that's fine. I just want to make sure that there's no leeway that somebody later comes along, that runs the life of the property.
Right.
So that somebody comes along 10 years from now and builds it to the front yard.
Yeah, I
Is,
doubt,
We'll just remember Mr.
Is-
Phillip and.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
there's, on page 124, it's, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 pages past that one there that we're looking at. There's an exhibit there that shows a hand sketch.
Okay, as long as we're
It
clear.
has a dimension on there, that's all I'm
Right.
saying. There's a dimension on there that we could tie it into if you needed a number. So,
I'm okay with it as long as we're clear. I get the point that it's up against 2 pieces of land that will never have a sidewalk, they'll never be developed, there's not going to be a house there, it's a retention pond. So I get it. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck. Enjoy your fence. It's approved. Okay. Next item.
Item number 9 is a variance request for 150 Pop Ash Court, which is located in the Sable Point subdivision. The request is for a south side street setback reduction from 25 feet to 12 feet for a privacy fence in the Sable Point plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Pop Ash Court. The Hornbeam drive side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to replace an existing privacy fence in the same footprint, 13 feet into the required side street setback. The privacy fence is 15 feet from the sidewalk and 25 feet from the edge of pavement. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a utility easement, and that building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement with an estoppel letter. The Sable Point Homeowners Association has approved the replacement of the fence. A letter of support has been received from the affected neighbor at 332 Hornbeam Drive. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
the utility easement, you said it's encroaching. Is that the rear one? The only one
Let's see.
I see, but
Yes, the rear.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to answer? All right, is there any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
A second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck, it's approved.
Thank you. Thank you for all your team. Everybody's been amazing, and all these
We have good staff, don't we?
amazing staff. You did. Every question I've asked, they've been amazing.
They make us look good.
Sure.
Okay, next item.
Item number 10 is a variance request for 2828 Walden's Ponds Cove, located in the Mandarin subdivision. The request is for a north side street setback reduction from 50 feet to 33 feet for an addition in the A1 zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Walden Pond Cove. The Long Pond Road side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to bring to compliance the construction of an addition 17 feet into the side street setback. The addition is 1,003 square feet and consists of a bedroom, bathroom, office, family room, dining room, kitchen, and lanai. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Is Long Pond Road vacated?
It's not vacated, no.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
Just to follow up to that, I mean, the aerial view of it shows that it's only partially improved on the...
That's correct.
Is that street access or driveway? Can we tell?
Street access from
I mean, is it just a driveway or is it actually a public roadway?
Long Pond Road?
Yeah, that
It's a public
section, the
right-of-way.
section that's improved is
Yes, it's
private.
a long, it leads to another subdivision.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Payton, and Mr. Chair, to that point, if we could go back to the prior aerial there, if it I'm sorry I should have looked this up before. If it continues to the right, to the east there, what would it, if that road was paved through, what would it hit?
I-4.
Oh, well, okay. That's not happening. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I don't know, might be
We are not going to
It's making it really ultimate.
Little tunnel.
All right. Any other questions for staff? Okay. Is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to answer?
No, I think we got it.
Okay, are there any questions for the applicant? All right, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve?
Motion to approve, do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, it's approved. Good luck, sir. All right, next item.
Item number 11 is a variance request for 306 Hickory Drive located in the Druid Hills Park subdivision. The request is for a west side street setback reduction from 25 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the R1AA zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Hickory Drive. The Flame Avenue side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 6-foot wooden privacy fence entirely in the side street setback. The proposed privacy fence is 20 feet from the edge of pavement and without a sidewalk to encroach upon. A code enforcement violation, number 21-16, was issued for this structure, resulting in the necessity of this variance. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add, sir? Yeah. Oh, come on down. Good evening. Please state your name and address.
David Cologne, 306 Hickory Drive, Maitland. Just wanted to let you guys know, I lived in the area for 18 years now. I bought this house like 3 years ago. I only bought it because it had a pool, sold the other one. I brought my granddaughter to live with me. So it had a chain link fence, look at the pool on the Flame side, 3 foot. Got a Jack Russell dog, he jumps too high, he might get over it. I'm afraid my daughter's in the yard that something could happen, you know, some 3-foot fence, she can get something could jump over, go in the pool, maybe drown her. So I put the 6-foot fence up for that reason. That's why I'm asking for permission. But that's why I did it. And I went down the road, across the street from me, the guy has it, same, I measured it, I got pictures. He got the same fence, he got the same lane, went down the street 2 blocks down, they have it. So I just wanted to make sure I can get approved. I have information here if you guys need it. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, the chain link fence, just so you know, didn't require a variance.
Yeah, and then
You could have had it there by right, and when you changed the fence style, that's when you had to
Made
get
a
a
mistake.
permit. and
Exactly.
so on.
I know that now.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
motion to approve.
Motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
A second? Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck.
Very helpful, thank you.
All right, next item.
Item number 12 is 2 variance requests for 405 Tucker Drive. The first request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 10 feet to 6.8 feet, and the second request is a south side yard setback reduction from 7.5 feet to 1.9 feet for an accessory structure in the R1A zoning district. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 9-foot by 19-foot shed encroaching 3.2 feet into the rear yard setback and 5.6 feet into the south side yard setback. A code enforcement violation, number 21-103, was issued for this structure, resulting in the necessity of this variance. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
just to clarify, is this new construction, or was this I was reading through their variance justifications that said they reinforced it, was it a new building that was put up, or was it just an old building that was rehabbed?
As far as I know, it was just the construction of it. I don't believe there was a permit for it at all.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Come on down, please. State your name and address for the record.
My name is America Nito. I come to speak on behalf of my dad. He's the owner of the house for 405 Tucker Drive. So about a year ago, we purchased this house. The shed was already there, but it was kind of falling apart. So with all the rain and stuff, it was getting really bad. So he didn't think it was out of violation or anything, so that's why he only reinforced it and put it back up. And also, most of our neighbors have sheds like that, so we really did think it was something that belonged there, but as we were told from the city, you buy the house, you buy the problem. So it's only for it's only for the shed. He just wants it to be used for his tools and stuff like that, but there's nothing else for it.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I know.
As
blunt as it is.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But the only purpose is for him to have his tools saved
I got
on
you.
it.
So the building was there.
Yeah.
He basically
Reinforced.
rehabbed the building,
Yeah.
fixed it up, same size, same place.
Yeah.
Is it a concrete foundation?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
It
So
is.
a little hard to move.
Yeah, kind of expensive too.
Okay, any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, have you or your father chatted with the neighbors right next door to the shed to see what their thoughts are? Or are there neighbors? I'm presuming.
Hold on, I don't know that.
I only mention it because if they've said they have no problem or they do have a problem,
Yeah.
we'll hear that. And it's
Right,
always
right,
it's
right.
always nice to know.
Yeah, we haven't had any complaints from the neighbor. It doesn't really, he told me that it doesn't really affect them, because, and then we don't have anything on the back of our house either. It's all just woods. So it's just the side.
Is there a house, to that south side of your property?
Yes, there's a house.
Oh, I see
to the
that.
side.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
Second?
Third.
Third?
Man's got to
Okay.
have a place to put his tools.
Absolutely. Not going to ask
All
them
right.
to pick up concrete.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck. You still have to get right with engineering, get the building code and all that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item.
Item number 13 is a variance request for 1156 Citrus Oaks Run, located in the Citrus Oaks subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 10 feet for an addition in the R1AA zoning district. The request is to construct a 280-square-foot screen room addition 20 feet into the rear yard setback. It will abut and run in line with the rear of the screen enclosure. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay. Is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add? Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, a motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, it's approved. Thank you. All right, next, minutes. Any additions, subtractions, changes?
Move to approve?
Motion to approve, do we have a
Second.
second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. All right, anything else for the good of the order? All right, I believe next month we have elections.
This one.
We have it today.
Oh, are we doing it today? Did I miss it?
Sorry, you lose.
I lose.
And in that, I elect Bernard to be president.
By acclamation, yes.
Well, I usually try to remind everybody to be there for it, so, we got 4 out of 5. All right.
For getting it incorrect, I'm voting against
We have to turn it over for doing elections.
Good evening, Ashley Dobbins, Clerk to the Board of Adjustment. I now open the floor for nominations for Chair.
Nominate Mr. Jones.
Second, third, and fourth.
All right. Not hearing any others, I close the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Should all voted nay.
All right.
Punishment,
right? No.
All right,
I didn't bring my pitchfork.
so now we're going to open for nominations for Vice Chair.
Nominate Mr. Hadaway.
Hadaway, do we have a second?
Yeah, a second.
The hazing, man, the hazing, no one told me about the hazing.
Any other nominations? With that being, no other nominations, we'll close it. All in favor, of Mr. Hadaway, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, if there's nothing else, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.